This month's book is The Alchemist. And I'll go over some of my takeaways here in the beginning, and then we'll jump into the Q&A. And the first, big thing you'll get out of, going through this book is daring to dream. Okay, daring to dream, and then building on that, daring to follow your dream. Okay, and what he talks about here is that everyone has their own personal legend. Okay, and this is your purpose, your calling, your destiny. Okay, you're watching this. You have a personal legend that you must realize. You have a dream, a calling, a destiny that you must fulfill, and it's something that's unique to you. We all have our own personal legend. No one can tell you what it is, only you know it, and you can't copy someone else because that's not your path, that is not your legend. Okay, and we all know this, especially when we're young. You come into this world and you're filled with hope, filled with dreams. It's like there's unlimited possibilities, and everything is just very clear to you, and you're not afraid to dream. But what happens is, and we're going to talk about this a lot due to the way that we're conditioned, something convinces you that you can't. Whatever your dream is, it's just a dream. You're never going to realize it. And what he says here is that this is the world's greatest lie, and it's something that we all believe in. We all get sucked into this lie that, hey, it's cool to maybe dream when you're a kid, but, welcome to the real world. Fuck that. Whatever your personal legend is, it's never going to happen. And what ends up happening is you give up on it. You start ignoring it, just turning like, oh, I'm not going to do that. Let's just do what's safe. Let's do what society tells me is the right thing to do. Let's do what my parents tell me is the right thing to do. Fuck the personal legend. Fuck the dream. It's just, immature little, a little childhood dream. And you lose touch with it, and you lose touch with it to the point where you can't find what your purpose or calling is anymore. And this is why, even on just fucking YouTube, you go on YouTube and you're just like, what's my purpose? And there are millions of videos because no one has a purpose anymore. It's like, what's my purpose? We're all trying to fucking find it because we lost touch with it. Everyone is telling you, give up on your dreams. Don't dream. If you're not going to realize your dream, don't even dream. Like, what's the point? Why would you get your hopes up? Fuck that. So most of us just completely ignore it and completely disown our personal legend. And your parents will help you disown it as well. They would rather see you do something that is very safe or do something that they did. Because if you go on to pursuing your dreams and realizing your personal legend, what does that say about them? It really shines this spotlight on the fact that they didn't do it. Everyone carries regrets. That's another, mission or challenge for you here. Go and talk to someone who's of older age, and ask them, hey, what are your regrets? And you'll just be baffled. You're like, holy shit. And it really all comes down to this. It's like, I wish I didn't hold myself back. I wish I jumped at this opportunity. I wish I really pursued my dream. Because in the end, that's what fucking matters. And I'm sure you realize that doing the meditative exercise where you imagine you're dead and you reflect back on your life from that perspective, it shows you like, hey, stop kidding yourself. There is a calling. There's something in you. You do have a purpose, and you have to pursue it. And if you don't pursue it, you will live a life of regret, and you can deny it as much as you like, distract yourself from it as much as you like, but deep down inside, it will always be there, and you will always know. And that'll be your regret. You're going to be on your deathbed knowing that you didn't realize, that personal legend. And, that's, parents, society, people around you. It makes them feel horrible because, we're all kind of living in this state of denial, not doing it. And it's like, yeah, we're just all playing it safe. And if someone goes on to do it, of course, they're going to try to shut you down. They're going to resist it because then it's like, well, why are you making me feel bad about my choices here? If you go about pursuing your dream, that means that I fucked up by not pursuing it, or that means that now I should do it, but I don't want to because I'm in my little comfort zone, and they'll just try to shut you down. And when that happens, as a little side note, have compassion or empathy for them. Don't be like, fuck those people trying to hold me back. Just really, again, seek first to understand before to be understood. Put yourself in their shoes. You are doing something that challenges their entire reality. And, it's understandable that they're going to try to shut you down. All you can do is just stay true to yourself and just keep on going. Keep on going. So dare to dream is the first big one. Start dreaming again. Look back at your childhood when there was all that hope, all those possibilities. Bring that back to the surface now, and don't think that it's immature or childish to dream either. Because that too, it's like, I'm an adult now, and we take on this identity of just being very serious, very disciplined. Fuck that. Okay, it's like, no. Bring that passion back that you had when you were a kid. It doesn't make you immature. It makes you way more alive. And if you combine the passion and excitement that you had when you were younger with, the seriousness or, say, dedication or ability to focus for a longer period of time that you now have as an adult, and you combine the two, you kill it. This is something Robert Greene talks about in his book Mastery, which I do have right here. He says that as a kid, you have all that enthusiasm and you dream, but you don't have the ability to focus on something for a long period of time or really pursue it until the end. So you're kind of ADD, like, whoa, 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 whoa. As an adult, you lose that, but now you do cultivate the ability to focus on something for a longer period of time. Combine the two and you're unstoppable. That's where genius kicks in. So dare to dream, and then dare to follow your dreams. And, he's faced with a situation here where he had to choose between something he had become accustomed to, which was his, flock of sheep, and something he wanted to have, which was his treasure. And we're really all confronted with this decision and with this situation. Right now, here's what you're accustomed to. Your life, who you are, your job, the money you make, everything here, you're accustomed to it. And you have to choose, like, am I going to stick with this? Or, even if it's like really nice and, comfortable, or am I going to go for what's calling me, what I'm really, inspired to do? And no one is holding you back. In terms of following your dream, like, there's no one telling you you can't follow your dream. If you're really realistic here, nothing's holding you back except you. And a question you can ask yourself, if right now you're in that situation where there's a lot of fear in terms of pursuing your dream or your calling or your own personal legend, ask yourself, what's the worst case scenario? And be realistic. Even just write it down to help cement this. What is the worst case scenario? Say it never works out. Say you just fail miserably. What's the worst case scenario? And it's really not that bad. Even me, when I moved to Los Angeles from Switzerland, and I'll talk about this, it's like I quit university and moved to Los Angeles to pursue my own personal journey or personal legend. And it was scary as shit. And, realistically, yeah, it's super scary. But I'd also kind of blow it out of proportion. I'm like, oh my God, here I am. I made the leap. I burned the boats. I'm in LA. Holy shit. Everything could just go to shit. If I fail, I'm done. But no, if you sat me down and you're like, hey, be real here. Say everything fails completely. I still have the option of going back to Switzerland and going back to university. It's not the end of the fucking world. What he says here is like, hey, if everything fails, he can still go back to being a shepherd. Most likely, whatever situation you're in now, if you drop it to pursue your dream and say it fails, you can probably go back to it. Or you can probably recreate something pretty fucking similar. This is something you've already done. This is in your comfort zone. You can do it again. You drop it, you can do it again. You quit your job, you can probably get another similar job if everything goes to shit. Be real. And also, if everything does go to shit, like say I can't even go back to university, it's not like you're going to end up completely homeless, or an outcast. We always undervalue our resourcefulness. When necessity kicks in and everything's just crumbling around you, you'll find a fucking way. You may not believe it now, but trust me, necessity kicks in, you will be surprised at how resourceful you are. Okay, so what is the worst case scenario? Write it down. In today's world, if you have the ability to, invest in a program like this, you can't fall beneath a certain point, no matter what you do. You cannot fall beneath a certain point. Okay, you're fine. Another thing that holds people back from realizing their own personal legends is they'd rather just have it as a dream. So either you won't dream, or you'll dream, but then you become attached to the dream, and you're afraid of making that a reality. I had that with music, where I played guitar for since I was 8, and I composed. I was in a band growing up. That's what I really wanted to do. It was like that creative expression, and I'd have all these songs in my head, and the way they sounded is I'm like, whoa! When I record them, there's gonna be the drums that sound like this. This is gonna sound like that. That is this whole perfect song. Like, if you're a composer, or you play an instrument and you compose, the perfect song we're all after is always in our heads. Like, we hear the perfect song. However, reality never matches it. And that's why a lot of us are afraid of putting something out there, because we'd rather have the dream, the perfect dream-like song, the perfect dream-like reality. If I did this, of course that would happen. No, do it. Okay, value the real world over the dream. That dream, although it may seem amazing, it's just you living in denial. And this is similar to the crystal merchant who he meets in the book, who doesn't follow his dream. And he says, I'd rather just have it as a dream. No. You have a dream, dare to dream, and then you must follow that dream and realize that dream. Okay? And in terms of following it too, a big fear I guess we have is we think that the bigger we dream, the riskier it gets. And that's not the case. It's if you're someone who doesn't dream big, and say you're playing it small. And to illustrate this point, let's just take finances. Okay, say you don't make that much. For you, because you don't make that much, there's going to be a lot of fear, and it's very risky to lose a little bit of that small amount. However, that's the fear, that's the dread, that's the risk. If you dream bigger, and suddenly it's like, oh man, if I dream bigger, then I could risk losing more, and it's even scarier. But no, because the proportions change. You dream bigger, you losing a way bigger sum, let's just say, in proportion to the bigger amount or bigger dream, it's the same amount of risk, dread, or fear. It's the same thing. For someone who has $10, losing $1 is a huge, it's kind of scary. You're like, oh man, I only have $10. For someone who has 10 million, that's like losing 1 million. Oh my God, losing 1 million. No, in proportion, it's the same thing. So why not dream big? Why not go all out? Trust me, when you lose a lot, when you go all out, it's the same thing as not going all out and losing a very little amount. Also, the worst case scenario, again, write it down, but realize that the worst case scenario is not realizing it. We think the worst case scenario is failing, but that's not true. The worst case scenario is just not doing it. It's what most people do, just living in denial, living in hell. Because even if you do go after it and you do fail, that failure is what adds the contrast. And as he talks about a lot in this book, you're failing, but you're pursuing your own personal legend. That's all that matters. It's really not about succeeding or failing. It's about pursuing it. Your worst day doing something that is your purpose, your worst day, realizing your own personal legend, is a million times better than your best day not realizing it. Your worst day doing a job you love will trump the best day of doing a job you don't love. Let that sink in. Your worst day ever pursuing your own personal legend will beat your best day not doing it. Always. So fucking do it. Okay? And be smart about it too. He talked about this a bunch, where it's like beginner's luck. It all starts with beginner's luck. Maybe have some kind of unfair advantage, some kind of skill you're going to build on. This doesn't always have to be the case, but it does help. Don't just be, oh, I'm just going to do this thing, and you have no experience, you're not playing it smart, and then you can get into some tricky situations. So, try to build maybe a track record beforehand, or capitalize on something you're good at. Don't be stupid and just jump in. You need that beginner's luck to get that momentum going. And one passage here in this book, and this is probably my favorite passage of the entire book, and I'll read through it, and it really hammers on what'll happen if you don't pursue it. And it's just so spot on. and it's when the boy's at the oasis, and he's talking to the alchemist, and he's like, "Hey, why don't I just stay here? I did a lot. I've accomplished a lot. Look at everything I did. I fell in love. Here's the girl I love. This is an awesome place. There's a great opportunity for me here. Why would I leave it all to go out in the desert?" And the alchemist tells him, and I'll read the passage, and never forget this passage. Never forget it. Okay, this is probably one of my favorite passages out of any fucking book. It's like, read it again and again and again. And what he tells him is, "Let me tell you what will happen. You'll be the counselor of the oasis. You will have enough gold to buy many sheep and many camels. You'll marry Fatima, the girl he likes, and you'll both be happy for 1 year. You'll learn to love the desert, and you'll get to know every one of the 50,000 palms. You'll watch them as they grow, demonstrating how the world is always changing. And you'll get better and better at understanding omens, because the desert is the best teacher there is. Sometime, however, during the 2nd year, you'll remember about the treasure." Okay, you can delude yourself a bit. For 1 year, delude yourself. Go all out. You'll make all this money. You'll know everyone. You'll live a very comfortable life. But eventually, that dream, that personal legend will start sneaking back in. Okay, you'll remember the treasure. The omens will begin incessantly to speak of it, and you'll try to ignore them. There'll be all these signs. You'll ignore them. You'll use your knowledge for the welfare of the oasis and its inhabitants. The tribal chieftain will appreciate what you do, and your camels will bring you wealth and power. That's the 2nd year. The 3rd year, the omens will continue to speak of your treasure and your personal legend. You'll walk around night after night at the oasis, and Fatima will be unhappy because she feels it was she who interrupted your quest. But you will love her, and she'll return your love. You'll remember that she never asked you to stay, because a woman of the desert know that she must await her man. So you won't blame her, but many times you'll walk the sands of the desert, thinking that maybe if you had left, you could have left, and that you could have trusted more in the love of Fatima. Because what kept you at the oasis was your own fear that you might never come back, and at that point the omens will tell you that your treasure is buried forever. Then sometime, I'm reading this horribly by the way, I'm sorry. Then sometime during the 4th year, the omens will abandon you because you've stopped listening to them. The tribal chieftain will see that, and you'll be dismissed from your position as a counselor, but by then you'll be a rich merchant with many camels and a great deal of merchandise. You'll spend the rest of your life, of your days, knowing that you didn't pursue your own personal legend, and then now it's too late. Boom. That's what happens. Right now, there's something that's calling you. Ignore it. You'll keep seeing these signs, and eventually it's like, it's too late, and you just live this life of regret, a life of quiet desperation. And another passage here too is like, you must understand that love never keeps a man from pursuing his personal legend. If he abandons that pursuit, it's because it wasn't true love, the love that speaks the language of the world. And this applies to both men and women. Value this calling, your own personal legend, above love. And if someone doesn't understand that it's your calling, it's not true love. And it sounds cliche, but trust me, if you compromise your calling or personal legend for anything, things will go to shit. Even love. And you will find someone out there who will understand this, by the way. And they will understand, hey, this is your calling, and, help you become a part of it, as you will help them become a part of it too. Don't let anyone stop you from pursuing that, and don't stop anyone from pursuing theirs. It goes both ways. And I'll see this sometimes. Like, friends of mine will maybe get into a relationship, and they try to impose their calling, or what they think should be the other person's calling, on them. And it may work for a little while, because, hey, we're in a relationship, we love each other, and you're willing to make certain compromises, but resentment always kicks in, and those relationships never last. Let each person have their own calling. Don't impose yours, don't block them from theirs, and don't let them block you from yours. You're both pursuing your calling together, and that love kind of amplifies it, and you can support each other, but never forget that either. Okay? And with the omens here, Seeing all these signs. This is also why, and I'll talk about this later, when you look for your purpose or what it is you should do, be open to those signs and don't be so stubborn or think that you know exactly what it is. Okay, for example, I said before, I played music. That's, originally why I moved to Los Angeles, by the way. I quit university, moved to Los Angeles to make music. That's what I thought was my calling, my personal legend, and it definitely was part of it. And then coming here to Los Angeles, if I was very stubborn, I'm like, you know what? My personal calling is only music. It's only this. And it was like very precise. I would miss all the omens that led me in this direction here. Okay, it's the same as if you, we talked about this in month 1 of apathy. If you do a release and you go in with expectations, and you're like, I must feel this, say intense sensations, you will ignore the other stuff. It'll be out of your awareness. So be more open-minded. Like, have a general idea, but be open-minded. That's what I did. I'm like, I'm not just the musician. And when, say, different opportunities were presented, like, oh, you can go teach, say, success with women, travel, give seminars. There were so many omens towards that, and it fulfilled the same need. It's along the same journey. For me, it was like, what did I love so much about making music? The expression, like self-expression. That's what I live for, self-expression. And then what am I doing with success with women, or even what am I doing now? The same thing. The seminars I give, that's like the concert. The videos I make, that's like the songs I record. Tweaking the content, polishing it, seeing what clicks with different types of people, that's the composing side of things. That's where the creativity kicks in too. So it's the exact same thing. But if I was it must be this, I wouldn't have seen the omens. I wouldn't have been open to, different opportunities. So don't be too stubborn and don't be so precise. Okay. And realize too that it will change. It's not just this one thing for the rest of your life. As you saw here, it was the sheep, then it was the crystal merchant, then it was through the desert. Okay, it evolves. For me, it was like Switzerland music, move to LA, success with women, personal development, and who knows what will come next. Once you make that decision and you decide you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. And you have to trust in this. Once you make the decision and you actually go for your dreams, you will see things starting to fall into place. And the reason this works, and this is something I'd suggest reading up on, your RAS, okay, reticular activation or activating system, which is your selective focus, basically, will start tuning into things that are beneficial to you. Okay, so what does that mean? Right now, you're watching this webinar, okay? Close your eyes and actually do this challenge. Close your eyes right now. And with your eyes closed, what was read in this webinar? Where I'm at right now on the screen you were watching, what was read? You can open your eyes now and then, you start noticing there's this. You start noticing the red. A little bit here too. But you didn't really notice it beforehand. It was there, but because there's so much data, you just can't pick up all the little details. That's your selective focus. Most likely you're focusing on me and on what I'm saying. Okay? Now you're aware of the red. What's green? Now you're aware of the green. Okay, so when you decide on something like, I'm going to pursue this, your RAS, your selective focus, is going to start picking up on things associated with that, whatever that is. And you'll be surprised. Things that you wouldn't have noticed before that are there, but you just don't notice because you're not looking for them, will start appearing once you decide. So make the decision, let your RAS do the work for you, and you'll also be surprised how things really work in your favor. Now, you could counter what I'm saying here with a million different arguments, like, not always look at this, look at this, look at this, but it's really a choice of perspective. You can view the world, and he says this in the book, as a threatening place, and it will become a threatening place. Or literally come from the frame of mind that, everything's exciting. There are literally unlimited amounts of possibilities here. Everyone is helping you pursue your own personal legend, and it'll happen. I read this book, a bunch of times, but reading it again this time was, really reminding me of that. It's like my view of the world say when I was younger. It's like, oh, I'm trapped, I'm stuck, versus my view of the world now. And I'll see it in clients, I'll see it in people I talk to. You can see if they have a very limited view of the world or a limitless view of the world. And I mean, that's really what, alchemy is about. It's like, here's the world, you can make something out of this. There are unlimited possibilities. And that's how I view it now. And it feels way lighter. Like, whatever I set my mind to, and it's delusional to some extent, yes, but at the same time, no, I can achieve. Literally, you can do whatever you want. You can create whatever you want. While it's important to plan ahead and be somewhat smart, trust, and this is something I remind myself of all the time, it's like, trust that I'll be able to deal with whatever happens when it happens. Trust that I'll be able to deal with whatever happens when it happens. A lot of times, you don't know what's going to happen, and there's that fear, like, oh my God, what's going to happen? But you'll know once you get there. You'll have the information needed and the perspective needed to deal with it when it happens once you're there. And is something we're going to talk about in next month when we touch on fear and self-trust. But there's a lot of like fear of the unknown, or a fear a lot of people have. And, it still occasionally kicks in for me too, is fear of how am I going to make it my entire life? Especially nowadays with everything changing so fast. You're probably like job security is dead. Technology is kicking in. Like people are being laid off left and right. It's very chaotic. There is that worry like, holy shit, how am I going to survive this my entire life? What if I get too slow? What happens when I get old? How am I going to deal with this? And it's all these things that scare you because right now you don't have the information or the perspective to be able to deal with it. But just as right now you were able to survive this long with all the shit thrown at you, it's going to keep being like that. Every time you reach whatever, shit hits the fan, you'll be able to deal with it, but only then and there. Only then and there will you have the information needed. Learn to deal with shit. Learn to deal with quote-unquote setbacks, bumps in the road, and learn to love them. Okay? In terms of the perspective you can take here, he said he realized that he had to choose between thinking of himself as a poor victim of a thief, when he gets robbed, or as an adventurer in a quest of his treasure. And you have to assign that meaning to what you're doing. It's so easy to get caught in victim mentality. Oh my God, poor me. Don't. Okay, whatever happens, you can choose. Victim mentality will never help you. Victim mentality is like the easy cop-out because it doesn't require you to do anything. You can just sit and wallow. That's the easy way out. Anyone can be a victim. It's the easiest thing in the world. You get fucked over, you hit a setback, something doesn't go your way. What do? You just sit with yourself and you're like, oh my God, fuck, I'm such a victim, oh my God. It's the easiest thing to do. It's easy, and it makes you feel like you're good, because oh, poor me. Look at me, tortured, being suffered, punished, I'm the martyr here. And then you get people who might show some empathy, some could be like, oh, it'll be okay. So you get some approval. It's the easiest thing in the world, but it doesn't accomplish shit. Don't do it. Instead, there's a little setback, and I'm an adventurer on my quest, of realizing my own personal legend. And remind yourself too, you don't know what a setback is, and you don't know what is good for you in terms of realizing that or not. Okay, a lot of times, a curse is a blessing in disguise, and you only realize it later on. So don't be so quick to judge what is good and bad for you. If you're pursuing your dream right now and something doesn't go your way, you don't know it didn't go your way. Maybe you succeeding at that would have fucked you over. Okay? And in a way, too, you really can't fuck up. No matter what you do, the only thing that's important is that you're moving in the direction of realizing that personal legend. It's not about getting there. It's about the journey and you living authentically to who you are. That's what matters. Any bumps in the road, it just adds contrast. It makes a cool story. It makes your life interesting. But it's never over. You just keep going in that direction. Okay? He talks about this with the caravan. No matter how many detours and adjustments it made, the caravan moved towards the same compass point. That's you. And a big thing here, too, is the closer you get to realizing your dream, the more difficult things become. Okay, you're going to constantly be tested, and the closer you are, or the bigger the dream, the more you're going to be tested to see if you're really committed to this. And be ready to be tested and take it. Don't just give up. And this is something too where I guess in today's world, we're kind of conditioned to be more soft. If you, read up on, especially, you hear this all the time today in different universities with the whole being politically correct, the safe spaces, so on and so forth. And there's definitely, okay, I don't want to take sides. There's definitely a place for that, but you can't go in these extreme ways. It's not about never having a safe space and, everyone's all the time. There's always a middle ground. But with the whole safe space PC thing, it's you're just being so sheltered that whenever something doesn't go your way, or whenever you encounter an obstacle or a setback or a little turmoil, people just close off or give up, think it's over. It's no. Learn to go through that. Toughen the fuck up. In order to find your personal legend, as I said in the beginning, one of the best ways is to do the, imagine you're dead meditative exercise where you reflect on your life, and just keep moving in that direction, and realize that your personal legend isn't just one thing. Most likely it will evolve and change. You just have to keep moving what's, authentic to you, and don't try to put it into words either. And this is a trap that's easy to fall into. It's what's your purpose? What's your calling? What's your dream? What's your legend? And it's you can't really put that into words. And there's a great way of putting it here, and I love that he wrote this. It's when the alchemist was reflecting on why he had to teach this in person to someone. And what he says is, people become fascinated with pictures and words and wind up forgetting the language of the world. Things have to be transmitted this way because they were made up from the pure life. And this kind of life cannot be captured in pictures or words. Don't let your calling be captured by picture or words. It's what's come before that. Okay? And it can't be captured as is this one thing. If you can verbalize, my purpose, my calling is this, it's not that. Okay? The best way I can put it, and this is what I personally follow, is, again, you really can't put it into words, but it's you're just kind of drawn in a certain direction, and you just feel it. It's this is something I have to do, and it's something you have to do just because. It's not to get anything. Okay, it's not about the outcome, and he talks about this too, where it's why haven't some people make it? Because they're just focused on turning something into gold. They're just focused on the gold versus the whole process. So it's not the outcome. It's just what are you authentically just drawn towards? For just because. And I just follow that, and it changes, and you can just get a feel for it. With launching this program and moving in this direction, I didn't know, honestly, that I didn't know what was going to happen. When I just started making my new YouTube channel and this new kind of, say, personal development type advice, I didn't know what was going to come of it. I just knew this is it. This is now what my calling is. This is the next phase of my personal legend. And people would ask me well, what's your plan for the next 5 years? And it's smart too to kind of think ahead, but for a year and a half or so, I had no idea. I just knew this was the right direction. And then I would fall on different things oh wow, this type of content, that's how I can explain some of the things that happened to me. Oh, now there's this. Oh wow, this kind of combines here and combines with my experience here. And it would just slowly come together. I just knew that was the direction, and then this program happened. You could die right now, but you'll know that you died realizing that personal legend. And that's a lot better than how most people pass away, where, again, they're just filled with regrets. And that's how you can kind of judge it. Right now, if it ended, again, imagine you're dead, do you have all these regrets? And a lot of them are due to the fact that you didn't pursue what is authentic to you. How to follow your purpose from a place of abundance. Wouldn't the whole point of following your purpose is to reach a place of fulfillment? No. Thinking that you must follow your purpose to realize the point of fulfillment is similar to what he talks about when most people in alchemy never make it because they're just focused on the gold. I must transform it into gold. It's all about the gold, the gold, the gold, the gold, the gold. That's why they don't make it. Okay? It's not about the destination. And as I talk about in the program, the only way to know what your purpose is and the only way to truly follow your purpose is to come from a place of abundance. It's when you are completely at ease that inspiration kicks in. When you're completely fulfilled, when you completely accept yourself, inspiration kicks in, and that's what you follow. Okay, and remember, you're not here to accept yourself fully, become enlightened, if you will, and do nothing. That's not why you're here. And you'll notice that no one is inspired to be idle, ever. If you are completely idle and you do nothing, and I'll talk about this in month 4, and we're going to build on this with purpose and procrastination, it's because there's a lot of resistance to doing something. If you're in this state of just complete non-resistance, something will kick in, and that'll be authentic. And that's where you feel awesome and you enjoy every moment of the way, and that's what inspiration is. It's not about the destination. When you're composing a song or doing something that you love, or if you're into sports and you're playing a game, of course there's like a score. Of course there's like the completion of the song, but every part of the way, if you really love it and it's like you're there, you enjoy it just as much. If you're composing a song, like I enjoy coming up with the tunes, I enjoy recording, I enjoy the whole process of creation of a song just as much as now the song's done. The same as if you're playing a game. I played basketball growing up. It's like when I'm there, it's like I love every part of the game. It's not all about just reaching the end point. And it doesn't matter if I'm in the first part of the first quarter or the last quarter. It's like I'm enjoying it. Live your life that way. You're here to experience life. You're here to realize your legend. It's not you're not just here to do nothing. But it's like, from what place is that coming from? Does everyone have a purpose? Yes, everyone does. Again, no one is inspired to be idle and do nothing. However, everyone's purpose is different and unique to them. No one can tell you what your purpose is. And if you're looking for someone else to tell you what your purpose is, that's literally like someone, asking, like doing what their parents want them to do. And he talks about this in the book. It's like his father wanted him to, like be a baker or something. And he decided to, become a shepherd instead and travel. Becoming a baker or doing what society tells you to do. It's like, hey, do this 9-to-5 job. There's nothing wrong with a 9-to-5 job, but if it's not what turns you on, it's like you doing that is the same as looking to someone else to tell you what your purpose is. Only you know what your purpose is. Learning about success with women, what it really did was it opened this whole world of possibilities. Before that, I literally thought I was stuck. Learning about success with women, like, hey, you can work on yourself, you can become more attractive, you can go out there and meet people. Just that, like, what? Like, I don't have to only meet people that are in my very small social circle or workspace, because that's how most of us go about things. It's like, where do you meet your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your spouse? At work, a friend of a friend. Now maybe there's like, okay, Tinder or some like online app. But those are the only options most people have when it comes to romantic relationships. It's so limiting. It's horrible. And then of course you're paranoid because you're like, shit, man, I better meet someone. I hope I meet someone. Oh, if I lose it or if I fuck it up with this person, I'm screwed because there's no one else that I know. Okay? It's so limiting. So then you find out like, hey, you can go out and meet whoever you want. Just go out and say hi to someone. So simple, but holy shit. I can just go out and say hi to whoever? I don't have to know them. They don't have to be part of my social circle. I don't have to know them through work. I can just say hi to them. Mindfuck. Blew my mind. And then you start doing it. And you're like, holy shit. Like, that's honestly what like opened like my perspective to I can do whatever the fuck I want. That was my first step out of the socially conditioned path I was going down. Because I was going down that path where it's like, get good grades at school, pretty much just trying to live up to all the standards that society placed on me or that my parents placed on me, trying to be good, trying to be fulfilled that way there. But I just personally didn't resonate with it at all. It's not what my calling was. I knew it, and it was miserable. And you would get good grades and you get the approval, but if you're not doing what's authentic to you, it doesn't matter what you get, it's never worth it. And this showed me, like, holy shit. You're not stuck. There's not like these constructs keeping you in place. That's a lie you bought into. You are fucking free, baby. And that changed everything. You know, it's like, I'm like going out meeting everyone. It's like, shit, I can do this. And when you go out and meet people you don't know or strangers, and that's the track record of self-trust through success with women, is that every situation is unique. Every person you meet is unique. You know, you're going to get a different response. There's a different type of vibe in the interaction. So you kind of learn how to deal with that. And that fear, again, social anxiety, fear of putting yourself out there, fear of talking to strangers, and fear of, or again, that self-trust, like, maybe I can't deal with this. You proved yourself step by step that you can. In all these new situations, you dealt with it because you're alone in it too. That's the cool thing. It's like, when you go up and say hi to someone, it's just you. So you can only depend on yourself. So you build that track record. So unlimited possibilities, I can deal with it. And then moving to LA, it's really acknowledging all the times shit hit the fan and I found a way. You know, I moved here and I was like, I booked two nights or 3 nights in this motel. A shitty fucking motel where if you walk out, it's like scary. There's like pimps and, you know, prostitutes walking the street. So I stayed there and like, I literally landed here in LA. No plan. People think I moved here and I had a plan. I had no plan. I quit university and just that was so scary. And I'm like, you know, I have to tell my parents, family, like, hey, so I'm not going back next year. I'm moving to LA. What's your plan in LA? Honestly, I don't know. I'm going to try music. I know it's like this is just my calling. That's all I knew. This is my calling. I'm going to take my guitar with me, maybe see if I can make something happen in music. And otherwise, I'm just going to be open to whatever happens. All I know is that this path here that I'm going down in Switzerland when it comes to University XYZ, and even if I changed majors, it was just not that. That's all I knew. I don't know what's going to happen over there, but all I know is that here, it's not that. Right now, it's not that. And I have to follow this. It's something I have to do. And it really wasn't about succeeding or failing, even at that point. A pact I made with myself, and this is something I recommend everyone does, is sit down with yourself and be like, hey, my calling is, you know, whatever your calling is this. Would I be okay with pursuing this and never making it? Would I be okay with that? And if the answer is yes, go for it. Would I be okay, like me back then, moving to LA and say never making it and just living a life, doing some like, you know, kind of shitty jobs, trying to support myself, probably not having enough money to ever get a house, probably not having enough money to really retire, probably not having enough money to maybe have a family or support a family? Maybe. Would I be okay with that? To do this? Yes. 100%. And then I made that leap. And then I moved to LA and like I landed here. I had my guitar in one hand, my suitcase for like the bare minimum. I had like $5,000, I think, around $5,000 or maybe $6,000. Booked 3 nights in a motel, and I had 3 days to find a living room to crash in on Craigslist. And that's what I did. I was just for 3 days just scavenging fucking Craigslist, looking for a living room to crash in that was affordable. And then I got it and tried to find a job now. I worked at the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, which is similar to Starbucks. Then followed that, like worked in retail at a clothing store called Lucky Brand Jeans. Worked in phone sales for like car warranties for a bit. Worked in selling cars for a bit. Worked in internet marketing for a bit, and then worked in teaching success with women. And every time, like, there were so many setbacks, so much bullshit, so many challenges, times where I almost went homeless, so broke. There was a time where I was homeless and broke, actually, where I literally had no place to stay. I had a car, a shitty fucking car, no place to stay, no money, no job. And I was like, and all I did was just text a friend, like, hey, can I crash at your place tonight? I had no idea where I was going to stay the fucking next day. No plan, nothing. It was horrible. There were times where I slept, oh my God, like in like my friend's, guest room, but it was like disgusting, and there were like cockroaches everywhere. Like, I slept in this place where if I left my computer on at night and I woke up in the morning and took it, there'd be like little baby cockroaches in all the fucking like USB ports, because it was like infested, and he didn't get rid of them yet because he had dogs, and then he had to get the dogs, someone to take care of the dogs, so he just kept putting it off. Cockroaches fucking everywhere. Like, you'd sleep, wake up, cockroaches all over you. And it was always that fear, like, fuck, they're gonna get in my ear. So I put like earplugs in. It was horrible, so gross. And I did that, you know. And to tell you the truth, all those moments, like, I kept looking back and like, I found a way. I always found a way. And you can get a little, you can get a little carried away where you're like, I will always find a way. Delusional, yeah, but fuck, man. I mean, you do. You know what your purpose is already. You know what it is. And don't put it into words, just whatever that calling is. Whatever's the thing where it doesn't matter if you make it or not, you just love that. Moving in that direction. What is it? And be creative here too, and like realize that there are many different ways or many different things you can do and still move in that direction. There are many different things you can do while still moving in that direction and staying true to your calling. It's not just one thing. You know? Keep in mind, you might be like, feel like you're trapped right now. It's like, oh, I have this job, I just can't quit my job. Okay, well, how can you move in that direction of your calling in this job? It doesn't mean you're going to keep this job forever, but how can you move in that direction right now with what you have? How do I know I am ready to pursue my dreams of acting? I am talented, yet I am terrified to drop everything. Okay, so once more, play it smart here too. We always jump to like black and white. It's like, okay, pursuing my purpose means I have to drop everything and pursue it. No. You could pursue it in what you're doing, or you can use what you're doing and pursue it, but in a, say, smarter/safer way. You know, right now, ask yourself, without changing anything, can you pursue your purpose? Can you pursue acting while keeping your job right now, while not dropping everything? What's the bare minimum you need to drop to pursue that? And what you'll realize is that there's a lot you can be doing right now that you're not doing. You know, we always think things will change when I move, but no, it's just going to keep being more of this. You know, I'll see this with people who want to, say, start their business. They're working a job they hate, and they're like, you know what? I just need to quit this job, move somewhere, and start my business. It's like, no, if you're not already working on your business or doing something now, what tells you you're going to do it then? Maybe, yeah, the move will give you that initial boost, but people tend to fall back into the same patterns. Right now, are you doing everything you can? Are you taking acting classes? Are you putting yourself out there? Are you like going to auditions? What are you doing right now? And if not, what could you be doing right now? And once you've done everything you could right now, then maybe you can think of dropping some stuff. Here's an example. Someone wants to be an entrepreneur, yet they work at, let's just say, Starbucks. They hear, okay, they're working at Starbucks right now. They hear, you know what, follow your dream. You want to be an entrepreneur? Be an entrepreneur. Immediately, I must quit Starbucks. No. How are you going to make money? Okay, how are you going to do this? Okay, so I can't quit Starbucks. But what can I do right now that will help me move in that direction? Okay, on my off hours from Starbucks, maybe read up, maybe start taking classes or like different programs on how to do it. Start trying it out. Okay, and remember too, he talks about this in the book. You gotta start trying it out and learning from experience, not just studies. Jump in. So do that outside of your work hours. However, even during your work hours, you can start moving in that direction. You can be an entrepreneur in that fucking Starbucks. How can you optimize the operation of Starbucks? Or what can you learn from how they operate? It has to be who you are and how you show up at any point in time. Who you are and how you show up now. Embody that now. That is staying true to yourself. That is realizing your personal legend. Everything is a stepping stone along the way. So even though, say, you're that entrepreneur in Starbucks, the Starbucks now, instead of becoming like this burden, like, fuck, I'm in the Starbucks, I'm not pursuing my fucking purpose, change your perspective, show up that way while you're in Starbucks, and Starbucks becomes part of your purpose. For me, moving to LA, working at the fucking Coffee Bean, which is like Starbucks, became part of my purpose. Working at the retail store became part of my purpose. It all adds on to your story, to your journey. Here's a nuanced point. Don't forget this. When I say effort versus effortless, it's your experience of it. Okay? Because it's very easy to hear this like, my purpose should be effortless. And then you're going in this direction. You're like, well, this is a lot of work. I guess it's a lot of effort. No, that's not what I mean. There's always going to be a lot of work. You're going to have to work a lot. If you want to accomplish big things, you got to work a lot. You got to go through a lot of fucking shit. Just as he did in the book. Working, hustling, the crystal store, traveling through the fucking desert and shit. It's like, you go through shit, but your experience of that shit is effortless. That's the difference. It's a lot of work, but it doesn't feel like a lot of work. When I'm fucking composing a song and I love it, it's a lot of work, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels very effortless because like, I fucking love it. It's what's authentic to me. This is it. You know, like putting this out there and like helping people, like that's what I fucking live for. It's this moment right now, this thing right now that I fucking live for. Life could not get better, I'm fucking tearing up right now, than this moment here. This. As good as it fucking gets. Better than sex, better than... You could dump money on me right now. You could dump any experience. Like, here's anything you want. It's this right now. This. This is like the treasure. I could die right now. Fucking the ceiling could fall on me. This. And everyone, like, that's what we should get, like, has to experience this. What is your this? Where you're just fucking there and you just live for this. What is your version of that? What is it? Whatever that is. It's like when I was doing music, if I'm in that zone, like composing and things are coming together, I'm like, fuck yeah, like that. And it's never linked to any outcome. It's never linked to any outcome. Right now, it's not about the outcome. It's this moment again, right now, here. This is what I live for. What's your thing where it feels effortless? You love it. It's what you live for. It's what turns you on. And it's not about the outcome. It's about that thing right there, right now. What is it? You know, and I mean, one thing that's quite interesting is it's for some reason it tends to always be linked into being of service, giving, producing, providing value. That's always or what tends to be, from what I've noticed. Your authentic purpose. It's never about what you get, once more, because when the outcome doesn't matter, it's all about, putting your gift out to the world, if you will. Isn't it a bit sad when you leave an old chapter behind to pursue a new one? No, it's exciting. It's fucking exciting. Because you reach that point where, like, don't view it like you leave it behind necessarily. View it more so like you build on top of it. You never leave something behind or get rid of it. It's like you build on it. And that's like the beauty of looking back at your journey. It's like, okay, here I am. Boom, moved to LA, built this job, built this shitty job, that built and fueled this, it fueled this, fueled the dating, fueled the travel, fueled personal development, fueled transformation mastery, which fueled, let's see, what's coming next. It fuels. It's like it builds onto it. It pours into the next thing versus I'm dropping it, I'm doing this. I'm dropping it, I'm doing this. No. It all goes together. Don't set aside the dream. There's a comment here. Because sometimes, okay, it can be a good tool, like set it aside for a little while, as long as you never lose track of the dream. Because what happens is you set it aside and you just keep setting it aside and then you forget it and disconnect from it completely. People live their lives, setting aside for a little while. I'm going to set the dream aside for a bit, and that's your life, and then you die. And remember, too, it's like, you don't know how much time you have here. What if you die tomorrow? Harsh, but true. What if you died tomorrow? Would it have been worth it to set it aside? Why set it aside when your lifespan is not guaranteed? When your days being alive here are not guaranteed? When it could end at any second? Why set it aside? And actually, another way of viewing it, and this helps, kind of similar to the imagine you're dead or why set it aside, is how would you live your life if you had a disease? Like, say you found out right now you have a disease that's going to kill you. You have a disease that's going to kill you. You just find out, bam, right now. How would you live your life? Who would you be? What would you do differently? And then guess what? And here's my revelation to you. You do have a disease right now that is killing you. You do. What? I do? Yes. Would you like to know what that disease is? Being human and being alive. That disease is every day. You're going to die eventually. You're moving towards death. Every day. There's a disease and it's killing you. You're going to die. Let that sink in. Act accordingly. Your days here are limited. What if your dream requires you to sacrifice a lot of things you love, leaving your family like you did in Switzerland? Sometimes that is the case. And well, what I'll say is this. Like, say you have to, okay, I'll take my scenario here. Me moving to America and telling my parents, hey, I'm quitting, university and moving, which was a really, intense moment. There was a lot of, resistance on their part, and it's understandable. Really view it from their perspective. Like, you have a kid. Like, imagine you have a kid, and your kid's telling you, your kid got in this really prestigious college, and if your kid graduates, it's like there's a lot of opportunities that open up for your kid. So you're very happy, and your kid tells you, "Hey, I'm quitting. I'm not going back next year, and I'm moving to America, Los Angeles." You're like, "What? Okay, what? And why? What's your plan?" I don't know. I got $5,000 here from a summer job. I'm gonna kind of wing it, see where it goes, maybe do some music. I don't really know. You're like, what the fuck? And of course, as a parent, like, I mentioned in the beginning, it does kind of shine, that spotlight on your shortcomings, but also, beyond that, you want your kid to survive and you want to protect your kid, and that is not a very safe choice. So you're going to do whatever is in your power to, make your kid take the safer route, including like yell, including like, if you leave, and this is literally what I went through. It's like, if you leave, you can't ever come back, you're disowned, etc., etc. It was really intense. But it was something I had to do. And I knew too, and remind yourself of this, if you ever find yourself in a similar situation, and similar to that passage in the book that I read, if I didn't do it, resentment would kick in. And you love your family, but if you don't do it, like, it's so easy to start blaming them. It's like, you held me back from doing this. In my entire life, living, say I stayed, and then I continued doing, what I was doing there, my entire life after that would be spent regretting it and hating them and blaming them. It's like, why did you hold me back from my dream? And I would no longer have a family to love. So I chose to go. And I knew too, it's like, similar to like true love, it's like, it's your family, they'll love you. Your calling, your purpose, realizing your own personal legend above all else. And, in the long run too, it's like, now me and my family are like better than ever. There was like that rift in the beginning. And then, when they see like, oh shit, like, he's on one hand way happier, way more alive. Like, who is this person? And then, you start doing it and say it goes well. Even if it doesn't, like, they would still, like, it's just that temporary dip. And then most of the time, not always, but most of the time, you reconnect. And right now it's like, again, I visit my family like a few times a year. Every time I'm in Europe, I go to Switzerland and see them. We're all in touch. Like, we're way closer than we've ever been, because I went through that temporary dip. But it's tough going through it, It is. But sometimes, like, it's, you gotta, similar to, him, like, going back into the desert and leaving the girl he met, the love of his life. It's tough, but it's what you gotta do. And that's your calling, what you gotta do.